Paired with yesterday's gospel reading concerning John the Baptist and his conflict with the religious authorities is a wonderful text from Isaiah. This text also pairs well with the gospel reading for the third Sunday of Advent for year A, the text in which Jesus tells the disciples of John that John should look for the things that Jesus was doing to tell if he was the one who is to come. I mentioned on Monday that today's text from Isaiah is one of the texts that Jesus alludes to in that passage. Hidden in plain sight in this text is an important clue about what the coming Messiah's mission is all about and the conflict that it will bring. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. Let's begin with the text itself. It comes from Isaiah chapter 61. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me. He has sent me to bring good news to the oppressed, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and release to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance for our God, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who mourn in Zion, to give them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a faint spirit. They will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord to display his glory. They shall build up the ancient ruins, they shall raise up the former devastations, they shall repair the ruined cities, the devastation of many generations. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and wrongdoing. I will faithfully give them their recompense, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Their descendants shall be known among the nations, and their offspring among the peoples. All who see them shall acknowledge that they are a people whom the Lord has blessed. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My whole being shall exult in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decks himself with a garland, and a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth belongs and brings forth its shoots, and as a garden causes what is sown to spring up, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring up before all the nations. The most important part of this oracle is the statement in verse 2, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. This is an almost forgotten piece of Israel's identity, a year that was supposed to roll around every 50 years, but which may never have actually been practiced. It was called the Jubilee year. The idea was that every 50 years, property ownership would revert back to its original owners. Even if a family had run into financial hard times and had to sell land to make ends meet, eventually that land would be returned to the family. In essence, instead of selling the land, people would give it temporarily to someone else for a period of years in exchange for cash or other goods like food. It meant that poverty would never be a permanent condition for any family, and likewise no family could ever permanently gain a monopoly over the land. While this would have been good news for the poor, you can imagine that it would have threatened the wealthy. But it represented a vision of a nation in which every so often things would be restored to their original condition. It goes right along with this idea, this theme of the coming of God's kingdom, which represents a restoration of the world to its original condition before the fall. But just as the religious authorities opposed John the Baptist in his ministry and would ultimately oppose Jesus and his ministry and message, so also powerful forces would be opposed to this vision of restoration. Why? Because no one wants to give up power or advantage, at least not willingly. As I suggested yesterday, not everyone will welcome the kingdom. Maybe that's why Advent is so important for us. It is our yearly reminder that the kingdom we are preparing for may put us at odds with people we care deeply about. But it is a kingdom worth waiting for nonetheless. Tomorrow, Paul urges us to be steadfast in our hope for this coming kingdom. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.